Garten of Banban is a game franchise that I've actually never covered before on this channel. Not because I dislike the games per se, just that I think that as time goes on, these games become less entertaining to talk about as the Euphoric Brothers slowly increase the quality of their games. And while that still applies for their newest game, this one is just so unbelievably Banban that I need to talk about it. Also, you guys really seem to want me to talk about this game, and hey, I'm happy to oblige. Garten of Banban Zero had been marketing itself as a prequel game, a look at what Banban's kindergarten was like before our protagonist in the mainline games arrived. And hey, as a chronic lore enjoyer, I'm all for prequel games. Now, despite what you might think, I'm not going to cover this game in the traditional way I handle reviews. Rather than walking you through the game, I'm instead going to sort of steal an idea from Oh Yeah, and do two top 5 lists of the top 5 best and worst things about this game. I would have just done this review the traditional way, but between this game's short runtime and it being unapologetically Banban, I think this format just works a bit better. But with that out of the way, let's begin with the top 5 best things about Garten of Banban Zero. Number 5. This room. This room is the main hub of Garten of Banban Zero, and is easily the best room that the Euphoric Brothers have ever made. Something that I've always loved about Banban's environments is that they carry a vague liminal space aesthetic, and even if that's just a byproduct of the Euphoric Brothers slapping purchased assets together, it's still a nice touch. Here though, the liminal space vibes are through the roof, with all of these holes in the wall, and the eye staring down at you from the ceiling is an excellent touch. I really hope we get more of these kind of environments in future Banban games, as this is proof that the Euphoric Brothers can be very talented if they want to be. Number 4. Peak comedy. Garten of Banban Zero is a game that introduced comedy so good that we've officially peaked in terms of humor as a society.
Minus 1 million aura.
See guys, when has FNAF ever mentioned brain rot? Hashtag Banban on top. In all seriousness, the comedy in this game definitely feels like it was just done for YouTube reaction bait, but it's so stupid that I can't help but adore it. Number 3. Ramamba's design. Ramamba is the main villain of Garten of Banban Zero, being this massive goat snake creature whose design is absolutely killer. Ever since we got a look at the mutated Opila baby in Garten of Banban 4, it was pretty obvious that the Euphoric Brothers could make really good models if they wanted to, but unfortunately most of that talent was being used on stuff like this. Ramamba though is another shining example of the Euphoric Brothers' modeling skills, and he has easily one of the best designs of any Banban character. I really hope that the Euphoric Brothers are able to continue to make models as good as these, because I do believe that they are genuinely good at character design when they try hard enough. Number 2. The ending. The ending of Garten of Banban Zero is honestly really cool. Basically, it's revealed that we've been playing as Flumbo this entire time, and the events of this game are setting up Banban 8. Flumbo is basically Banban's version of Golden Freddy, being an early version of the main mascot of the establishment. We can also assume based on this ending, that Banban put Flumbo in the closet so that he could become the main mascot, which is pretty cool. Also, the Euphoric Brothers went all out on the credit sequence of this game, featuring some amazing artwork and an original song by Black Griffin. I have no idea why this is happening here instead of at, the last Banban game, but hey, I'll still take it. Number 1. It's free. Garten of Banban Zero is one of the 2 Banban games that are free, with the other being the first one. I think this was an excellent move on the Euphoric Brothers' part, as while this game is longer than Banban 1, it's much shorter than the rest of the games. I don't really have an issue with the Euphoric Brothers charging money for their games, but I think it's definitely a nice change of pace to make this game free, after 3 games that are definitely a bit overpriced. And that was the top 5 best things about Garten of Banban Zero. But of course, we're still talking about a Banban game, so let's move on to the top 5 worst things. Number 5. The Euphoric Brothers put padding in a free game! Despite costing $0 to play, it honestly still felt like Garten of Banban Zero featured some trademark padded gameplay that I honestly can't explain why it's here. For example, the game opens with this little questionnaire thing that, while obviously for story purposes, literally does not affect gameplay at all. There's not even any consequences if you mess up, there's just different text on the screen. There's also a few puzzles in this game that, while fun, last a bit longer than they should have, because the Euphoric brothers seem to love making decent puzzles and going, hey, what if we made them do this 3 times? My only explanation for this is that the Euphoric brothers are so used to padding out their games to prevent that refund speedrun that they literally don't know how to make a game without it, which if true is really funny. Number 4, the voice acting is still kinda bad. Banban voice acting has always been a mixed bag. You have great voice actors like Ty Coker that are somehow in the same game as this.
3 birds with 1 stone.
Garten of Banban 0 is no different with this. The reason Ty Coker is so good in this game isn't just because of his funny voice, but also that he actually sounds like a younger version of Bittergiggle. However, Banban, Banbalina, and all of the Javanium creatures still sound like adults, which just doesn't fit in with the context of these characters being younger. I do think the Euphoric brothers have talented VAs on their team, but that talent is just going to be wasted without the right direction. Number 3, the gameplay is pretty meh. The gameplay of Banban 0 is honestly pretty okay overall. I do like the puzzles we have to solve, but besides that you just walk around and listen to dialogue, while occasionally doing something. Plus there's a certain section of gameplay that we'll touch on later, which is absolutely infuriating. I'm aware that the gameplay of this franchise has always been pretty meh, but at least there was an occasional chase scene or slightly interesting drone puzzle in between the boring stuff. I mean, there is one chase scene with Ramamba, and while kinda scary, it's literally just run forward until the next cutscene plays. Although the gameplay here is infinitely better than the drone-like mechanic introduced in Banban 6, so at least there's that. Number 2, the Euphoric brothers actually killed off characters. I don't know if you've noticed this about Banban, but barely any characters actually die. There have been countless moments for each character, where it seems like they absolutely should have died, until they show up unscathed in the next game. Unironically, I think the only character in the game who has stayed dead is Queen Bouncelia, but honestly she still could come back. Unfortunately though, the Euphoric brothers seemingly decided to kill off both Ramamba and Truffletoot, as they both appear motionless on the ground after the cutscene where Ramamba is defeated. I really hope that these characters are brought back in Banban 8, as I think they're super interesting, and would love to learn more about them, but only time will tell. Number 1, the Bittergiggle timing puzzle is absolute trash. Okay, so basically there's a minor section in this game where you're stuck in a room with baby Bittergiggle and have to do a short puzzle to get out. The puzzle involves timing your button presses to align with the frequencies on the monitors when the two are touching each other. Repeat this for a few televisions in the room and you're done. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, the only problem with this section is the fact that you aren't actually timing your button presses based on when the monitor frequencies line up. What you actually have to do is click the button slightly early so that this little lightning bolt icon can show up as the frequencies match. That still might not sound that bad, but I plus a lot of other people struggled a ton with this section. I also didn't even mention the fact that there's a mistake limit for this puzzle, meaning if you don't line up the frequencies enough times, you have to do the entire thing all over again. I think conceptually this puzzle is pretty cool, but the fact that you have to intentionally mistime your button presses is criminal. And those were my lists for the top 5 best and worst things about Garten of Banban 0. This was definitely a lot less sophisticated than my other reviews, but I don't think this game is nearly long enough to justify a normal review. If this video does well, I'll definitely make a proper review of Garten of Banban 8, which is releasing sometime this year, so let me know in the comments if you'd enjoyed that. But anyways, that's all from me. I'm Supersonic, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.